latest in news, sports and entertainment. We got everything you need and so much more, yeah.
98.5 FM. Oluyole. 98.5 FM.
Hear me now. Go down to the number one station. Educative and quality information. Brighten up your day in so many ways. Tune to 98.5
FM. Oluyole. 98.5 FM. 98.5 FM. Oluyole. 98.5 FM. 98.5 FM.
The time is 6 o'clock on Oluyole 98.5 FM Ibadan.
The news.
Good evening. This is Tabitha Komolafe. Reading with me is Adetoke Olaleye. Bringing you Newscope, our daily news program of in-depth reports, interviews, and commentaries. First, the highlights. INEC displays President Tinubu VP Shatima's credentials for 2027 poll.
Multiple BVAS failures recorded in mock accreditation ahead Osun governorship election.
Veteran broadcaster and Abese Olubadun Oluyole dies at 76.
Boko Haram murders 10 soldiers in Niger Republic.
And now the details. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has begun the public display of personal particulars and academic credentials of candidates for the 2027 presidential election. The exercise, which took off today, featured documents submitted by President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress (APC) and his running mate, Vice President Kashim Shettima. Copies of President Tinubu's Form EC9, cited by a correspondent, showed his Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from Chicago State University, his National Youth Service Corps discharge document, his work history, as well as his March 29, 1952 date of birth, indicating that Mr. President is aged 74. For Vice President Kashim Shettima, the displayed document traced his education from primary school to the University of Maiduguri, the University of Ibadan, and his 1990 NYSC discharge certificate. The display is a statutory requirement under Section 29(3) of the Electoral Act 2026, which mandates INEC to publish candidates' particulars within 21 days of receipt.
Meanwhile, a civil society organization, the Coalition of Concerned Nigerian Citizens, has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to explain the alleged widespread failure of the primordial voter accreditation system (BVAS) during today's mock accreditation exercise ahead of the August 15, 2026 governorship election in Osun State. The coalition claimed that the exercise, organized to assess INEC's readiness for the poll, encountered significant technical challenges at selected poll units across the state. In a statement issued by its spokesperson, Comrade Rafiu Sadiq, the organization alleged that many BVAS devices stopped recognizing fingerprints, facial features, and permanent voter cards less than 40 minutes after the exercise began. Comrade Sadiq described the development as disturbing, noting that a mock accreditation exercise should ordinarily strengthen public confidence in the electoral process rather than generate fresh concerns about election preparations. The Coalition of Concerned Nigerian Citizens questioned why the reported technical challenges allegedly occurred despite years of preparation and substantial public investment in election technology.
Respected elder statesman and politician Dr. Saka Balogun has called for far-reaching constitutional and governance reforms in the country. He said Nigeria's progress depends on a more effective federal structure, credible local government administration, and a qualitative education system. Dr. Saka Balogun stated this while featuring on the BCOS TV flagship personality interview program in Yoruba, Bagede Oshelu. Folashade Akintola monitored the program and now files in this report.
Speaking on the need for restructuring, Dr. Balogun advocated constitutional reform that will strengthen Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zone into more viable federating units capable of promoting balanced development. Speaking on the need for restructuring, Dr. Balogun advocates constitutional reform that will strengthen Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zone into more viable federating units capable of promoting balanced development, efficient governance, and healthy competitions among the constituent parts of the country. While acknowledging that a return to the old regional structure may no longer be practicable, he maintained that greater devolution of power will make governors more responsive to the aspiration of the people.
Leaders of states are no longer willing to collapse their territorial areas into bigger regions, but the 6-zone arrangement can be used to have some kind of federal unit that will make it a little more manageable in terms of governance.
On the education sectors, the elder statesman observed that although the present-day curriculum exposed students to a broader range of subjects, it falls short of the depth, quality, and academic rigors that characterize the educational system of earlier generations. He stressed the need for reform that will combine wider knowledge with quantitative learning for better equipped students for national development.
Some of the basic subjects have been split into so many disciplines, but the fact that that number has increased necessarily affects the depth to which it can go in terms of acquiring knowledge. It's not easy to say retrogressing and or improving. It depends on what you are looking for.
Dr. Balogun expressed concern over the state of local government administrations, saying the third tier of government has yet to function as truly autonomous institution. He questioned the credibility of local government election, alleging that excessive control by the state government undermined the independence of local council and weakened grassroots governance. The elder statesman further criticized the increasing wave of defections by politicians to the ruling party, describing the trend as unhealthy for Nigeria's democratic growth and multi-party system. According to him, political realignment should be driven by principle and ideology rather than personal or partisan interests, adding that defection should never serve as a shield against accountability. Dr. Balogun maintained that democracy can only flourish where justice, transparency, the rule of law, and strong constitutional prevail. He therefore called on political leaders at all levels to place national interests above personal ambitions, embrace genuine constitutional and electoral reforms, and strengthen democratic institutions to ensure sustainable development and good governance in Nigeria. Folashade Akintola, BCOS News.
Troops of the Nigerian Army have rescued a kidnapped senior military officer, Lieutenant Colonel Ofo Amobi, and a civilian, Mr. Ikechukwu Onoworana, after a 10-day joint search and rescue operation in Enugu State. In a report made available to correspondents today in Abuja, the military said the victims were rescued in the early hours of Friday following sustained pressure on their abductors. It was gathered that troops of Section 1 of Operation Udokai, led by the Commander 82 Division Garrison, carried out the operation. The soldiers conducted intensive search across Inye, Amla, and Apugo Eze forests and communities in Oji River local government area of Enugu State. It was also learned that the rescue persons who had previously sustained gunshot wounds in the hands of the captors were evacuated to the 82 Division Hospital for treatment and medical evaluation.
The death of one David Yesa, an employee of a Chinese-owned private company in Utesi Ikpobalka local government area of Edo State, has led to massive destruction of the company's property by irate members of the host community. Mr. Friday Agedo, Chief Press Secretary to the State Deputy Governor, confirmed this today in a statement issued in Benin. Mr. Agedo explained that Governor Omonde Okpebolo, who is currently in the United Kingdom, mandated the Deputy Governor, Friday Idahosa, to visit the company. He assured all parties of thorough government investigation into the circumstances surrounding the unfortunate and sad incident that triggered the arrest. Company officials said the deceased was fatally injured and later died when the forklift he was operating allegedly developed a fault, overturned at the edge of a culvert and crushed him. The incident sparked protest by members of the host community who alleged that the company attempted to remove the deceased body from its premises without following due process or informing the appropriate quarters.
Hepatitis remains one of the world's major infectious diseases, yet millions remain unaware and even living with it until severe liver damage occurs. A consultant family physician at the University College Hospital Ibadan, Dr. Kehinde Adigun, and the Oyo State Coordinator for AIDS and Viral Hepatitis, Dr. Sherifat Bikunle, discussed the deadly disease today on the BCOS TV Current Affairs News Magazine program, Saturday Special. Our reporter, Tobiloba Shokumbi, monitored the program and compiled this report as presented by Bimbo Akumbi.
The World Health Organization estimates that more than 300 million people worldwide are living with chronic hepatitis B or C, while over 1 million people die annually from complications such as liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. Experts say the disease is often described as a silent killer because many infected persons show no symptoms until the liver has been severely damaged. Speaking on the program, Dr. Kehinde Adigun explained that hepatitis has 5 major viral types, A, B, C, D, and E, while other causes include excessive alcohol intake, harmful drugs, toxins, and autoimmune diseases. According to him, hepatitis A and E are commonly transmitted through contaminated food and water, while hepatitis B, C, and D spread through infected blood, unprotected sexual intercourse, shared needles, and other sharp objects. He noted that hepatitis B can also be transmitted from an infected mother to a baby during childbirth. Dr. Adigun listed common symptoms to include persistent fatigue, fever, nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, abdominal pain, dark urine, pale stool, and yellowing of the eyes and skin, otherwise known as jaundice, stressing that many infected persons may remain symptom-free for years.
Acute hepatitis, fulminating hepatitis, cirrhosis, as well as PLCC, which is a primary liver cell carcinoma. But you see, all others, maybe A, E, and D, you understand? Majority of them are self-limiting, but the B and C causes 80 to 90% of the infections that we actually proved very, very, dangerous.
Dr. Sherifat Bikunle stressed that early diagnosis remains the most effective way to prevent life-threatening complications. She explained that while hepatitis A and E usually resolve with supportive medical care, chronic hepatitis B can be effectively controlled with long-term antiviral medication, while hepatitis C is now curable in most cases with modern antiviral drugs when detected early. She encouraged routine screening, particularly for pregnant women during antenatal care, to prevent mother-to-child transmission, while urging the public to avoid sharing needles, razor blades, and other sharp objects.
If the mother is tested during maybe antenatal visit, is tested positive, right? There are other laboratory tests that will be carried out to know the virology, which is the load of that virus. So if it is high, the mother can transmit during pregnancy. Yeah. So the mother is probably placed on an antiviral to cover, like a prevention method to protect the baby. And then during delivery, once the baby is delivered, is expected to receive an injection to protect its B virus to cover it. But that doesn't really mean that it is totally covered.
The experts commended government efforts aimed at combating viral hepatitis through public enlightenment programs, integration of hepatitis screening into healthcare services, routine antenatal testing, childhood immunization against hepatitis B, blood safety measures, and expanded access to testing and treatment. They, however, called for increased funding, wider availability of screening centers, and sustained public awareness to achieve the global target of eliminating viral hepatitis as a public health threat by 2030. They recommended that Nigerians maintain proper personal hygiene, ensure safe food and water consumption, receive the hepatitis B vaccine where eligible, practice safe sex, avoid excessive alcohol intake and self-medication, eat balanced diets rich in fruits and vegetables, and seek prompt medical attention whenever symptoms of liver disease are noticed. The specialist also urged members of the public to undergo regular medical checkups, emphasizing that early testing saves lives, prevents transmission, and significantly improves treatment outcomes.
Television was once a daily ritual in many.
A highly respected veteran TV journalist and broadcaster who served as chief press secretary to a long and successful line of governors in Oyo State, Oluyole Alabi, is dead. Oluyole Alabi, a Yoruba culture promoter and enthusiast who held the prestigious traditional title of Abese Olubadan of Ibadan, breathed his last today in Lagos at the age of 76. News of his passing was broken in a statement issued by Adeola Oloko, media officer to the Olubadan of Ibadan. A visit by BCOS News to the Akobo Ibadan private home of the deceased revealed that a condolence register had been opened while his widow, Mrs. Adetokunbo Alabi, and his first son, Olatunji Alabi, received early callers who came to commiserate with the family. The late Oluyole Alabi will be laid to rest tomorrow in accordance with Muslim rite. Around 10 soldiers in Niger Republic have been killed in an attack by the Boko Haram terrorists in the country's southeast. The attack, which was confirmed by the state media, occurred on Friday close to the Ngimi, a garrison town in the Diffa-Mashi Lake Chad region. Other residents who spoke of the attack in social media posts also said 10 soldiers were killed, as well as 4 National Guard personnel. Diffa's Governor General Muhammadu Ibrahim was in Ngwimi to oversee the burial of security forces personnel killed in the attack. The Boko Haram insurgency, which erupted in 2009 in Nigeria, has spilled over into Niger Republic, Chad and Cameroon, prompting a regional military coalition to fight the terrorists. Still on the foreign scene, at least 67 people died during a recent surge in migrant crossings from Morocco to Spain's North African enclave, Ceuta. Spain's Interior Minister, Fernando Grande Marlaska, confirmed the 67 death toll to reporters today as against 18 recorded on Friday. Most of the migrants had returned today to Morocco after tens of thousands crossed over the border, most by swimming around the small frontier post that juts into the Mediterranean Sea. More than 60,000 migrants crossed overnight on Thursday from Morocco into Ceuta. The sudden massive influx has sparked an international crisis for Spain's government, drawing criticism from Italy and Finland and prompting France to tighten checks on its border with Spain. To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the main points. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has begun the public display of personal particulars and academic credentials of candidates for the 2027 presidential election. The exercise, which took off today, featured a document submitted by President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress, APC, and his running mate, Vice President Kashim Shettima. A civil society organization, the Coalition of Concerned Nigeria Citizens, has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to explain the alleged widespread failure of the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, BVAS, during today's mock accreditation exercise ahead of the 15th of August 2026 governorship election in Osun State.
A highly respected veteran TV journalist and broadcaster who served as a chief press secretary to a long and successive line of governors in Oyo State, Oluyole Alabi, is dead. Oluyole Alabi, a Yoruba culture promoter and enthusiast who held the prestigious traditional title of Abese Olubadan Ibadan land, birthed his last today in Lagos at the age of 76.
At least 67 people died during a recent surge in migrant crossings from Morocco to Spain's North African enclave, Ceuta. Spain's Interior Minister, Fernando Grande Malasca, confirmed the 67 death toll to reporters today, as against 18 recorded on Friday.
If you see something suspicious, alert the authorities immediately for timely response. Be vigilant. And that's all from the Newscope Dex for now, and it was packaged by Tola Teriba and delivered by
Tabitha
Olaleye. Thank you for listening, and do not forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m.
From the city of Ibadan, the home of ancient warlords, in the Pacesetter state, this is Oluyole FM 98.5 Ibadan.
Unstoppable, unbeatable, untouchable. The station that does it better. Oluyole FM 98.5 Ibadan.
Ẹkú dédé wòye ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa ṣàlàáfíà lẹ́wà ọ̀dẹ̀ òdùn bí ẹ̀sìnkú àsìkò ọ̀rìnrìn yìí o lágbára Ọlọ́run kò ní ṣọwọ́ òdì sí wa àmín. Lábala àkọ́kọ́ ètò ìyí àrà ohun tẹ́ bá wa dá sí rèé o ìwà ipá ohun agbára lílò tó ń ṣokùnfà àṣìlò ọmọnìyàn láwùjọ kí lọ̀nà àbáyọ. Téńté orí ìròyìn ni ó tẹ̀lé tó bá wá di abala kejì ètò ìyí àrà olùṣọ́-àgùntàn arábìnrin Felicia Ọláìdé Adéyẹmí lẹ́wọ̀n máa bá pàdé wọ́n ń bọ̀ wá aṣojú àjọ kan tí kì í ṣe tìjọba tó ń rí sí ìdàgbàsókè ọ̀dọ́ àti ìrónilágbára wọ́n sì máa fìdáhùn sí ìbéèrè nípa ìlòkulò ọmọnìyàn. Irúfẹ́ àwọn wo ló máa ń sábà lo ìwà ipá léni lórí jùlọ? Ọ̀nà wo la sì lè gbà dẹ́kun ẹ̀? Tó bá wá ṣẹlẹ̀ tó mú ìpalára lọ́wọ́ kí ni ìgbésẹ̀ tá a lè gbé gan-an? Àwọn ìbéèrè wọ̀nyí àtòmí ìtẹ́ bá tún nítorí yín lójú ní kẹ́ béèrè lọ́wọ́ àlejò wa lórí ètò ìyí àrà lọ́jọ́ Sunday lórí rédíò àti tẹlifíṣàn ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ náà ni o àti lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára wa gbogbo. Ìròyìn eré ìdárayá náà sì ní gbẹ̀yìn lórí ètò pẹ̀lú ìyí àrà lọ jáǹtìrẹrẹ.
FM. Onjalala. Onja tòòròtò. Oluyole FM. Òkìlẹ̀ létí. Oluyole FM ó báradọ́gba kiri sìn bí ọmọ àwélé ó jẹ́ gàràgà ní fara olùkọ́ni tètò tó ń retí ròyìn ní yùngbà ajídára bí ìṣù ẹ̀lú fíkà fábẹ́lá tẹ̀ 98.5 FM ìkòkò ọbẹ̀ fún gbogbo ẹlẹgbẹ́ tó kù máa gbọ́ lọ.
Akéde òtítọ́, akéde ìyè, akéde ìbáwí, akéde ìkìlọ̀, akéde ìṣúná, akéde òwò, akéde àṣà, akéde ìròyìn, akéde ètò, akéde Ìbàdàn, àwọn èdè nítawà.
Ó pè ọ́ kó kéde ọjà rẹ nílé akéde Olúyọ̀lé FM 98.5 kíkéde ọjà rẹ kó lè kún níbàárà rẹ la.
Yémọ̀já mọ̀túndé lọ́dún ní o èkúrú rẹ̀ rèé o obì rẹ̀ rèé o ègbò rẹ̀ rèé